Today, we're going to be analyzing questions from the New York State Global History regions. Let's take a look at these. Question number one has to do with this world population, and I can see we have a graph. And let's look at the question. So it says, what is the most valid conclusion based on the graph? And I can see question number one says the most rapid rate of growth occurred before 1800. So when I'm looking at this, I see that here's 1800, right? And is the world growing rapidly before that? No, definitely not, right? So most of the growth is happening after 1800. So what I'm going to do is simply cross out letter A. The world's population will remain the same after 2000. That's highly unlikely considering the pace of this growth is going straight up. So let's eliminate option number letter B. Let's take a look at C. The number of children per family has been steadily increasing. That looks plausible. Let's check out option number D. Letter D. The growth rate of the world's population is increasing. That also seems likely. The correct answer, even though C does seem plausible, I'm going to knock this one out and identify D as the answer. The world's population is increasing. That's clearly happening as we see the number of people projected in the billions. Let's take a look at this question. I'm looking at the top and I can see it's a comparison of international inequalities. So that's saying that one group is maybe treated unfairly or definitely unequally. And let's look at the question. It says a valid conclusion can be made based on this graph is that nations with low per capita GNP have what? Gross national product. So this basically means poor. So poor countries have what? Let's take a look at the options. Greater life expectancy? I know right off the bat that's probably not it, so I'm just going to cross that up. Greater public expenditure on health per capita? Does that mean they spend more money per person on health? Probably not. A high infant mortality rate. Mortality rate means death, all right? And so does that mean that in poor countries, do more infants die? That seems highly likely. Or D, a high adult literacy rate. So when we're looking at it, do poor countries have a high adult literacy, high number of deaths in an infant population, or are they spending money? So let's take a look, looking at the graph. So I can see right here, for example, public expenditure on health per capita. When we're looking at least developed countries, 283 million developed countries. So this gray one right here, let's take a quick look. This is going to be the poor, and this one with the dots, this is rich countries. So when we look at poor public expenditures, no, it's not going to be, as we said earlier, option A or B, because I can see greater public expenditure on health per capita. No, because I can see right here, the rich people are spending a lot more than the poor people, so we can simply cross that one out. What about high infant mortality rate? Let's take a look at this. This is the top graph, and I know that this is the poor, and this is the rich or affluent or developed countries in this case. And I see infant mortality per 1,000 live born. Yeah, a lot, significantly more infants are dying in poor countries or least developed countries than rich. So that is our answer, a high infant mortality rate. Let's take a look at this question. I see it's addressing economic conditions in Latin America. So economics deal with money. And it says, according to the table, which nation has the greatest problem in the area of public health? Bolivia, Costa Rica, Mexico, or Venezuela? So I see here we have the nations, and here we have different economic conditions related to these countries. This is asking about public health. The most crucial word in this one right here is this public health. So we're not looking for areas of economic conditions that are not related to public health. So does literacy have to do with public health? Nope. So I'm going to cross this one out. Year until population doubles? Nope. Urban population. What about life expectancy? Yeah. So I'm going to look at this. What about infant mortality? Yeah, that seems also significant. Per capita GNP? Nope, that's not relevant. Population millions? that doesn't have to do with this idea of public health. So we're looking at this, and we're looking at these two tables. And when we're looking at it, which has the greatest problem? So let's take a look at, for example, life expectancy. In this country, I'm going to need to take a look in a second, but the people are only living to be 51 years old versus 63, 53, 66, 69. So this one is clearly the lowest. And when we go over here, infant mortality, again, this has to do with ideas of babies dying, and they're happening, again, at the highest rate in this top country. And when we shift over, that is Bolivia. So let's go down and see if Bolivia is an option. We're talking about health issues, and it certainly is. The answer is A, Bolivia. So here we're going to be looking at a comparison of population growth in Latin America and North America. So let's take a look. I can see right here Latin America has these black dots. I'm going to make it red so it's a little bit easier for me to see. And North America, and I'm going to make that blue, and that's this line right here. I also know that once we get past this line, it's projected. So let's do that. And then everything after this line means it's just a guess. So let's take a look at these questions. And it says, based on the information in the graph, which is a valid conclusion about the population of Latin America and North America? So option A says, there's always been a large difference in the population growth of Latin America and North America. Well, I can see right here, no, it's very similar. It's not a large difference. So I'm going to cross out A. Option B. By the year 2000, the population of Latin America is expected to be approximately twice that of North America. Wow. Well, if I'm looking right here, for example, and here I see Latin America, and I go across, and by 2000, right, it's going to be about 600. And when I'm looking at North America, it's right here, and if I go across, it's going to be about 300 million. I know that 600 million is twice that of 300, and we're looking at this idea of twice as much. So it seems like option B is the answer. We'll come back to it. By 1900, the number of people in Latin America was equal to the number of people in North America. No, that's not the case because there was more in North America. In early 1980s, the difference in population between the two regions was about 300 million. So here's the 1980s. So this is 400 million, and this is about 250. So the difference there would be about 150. So no, that's not going to be option C or D. The option for this number is B. Twice the number in Latin America than in North America.